I appreciate the opportunity to come here to share with you my thoughts on language education for minorities in China and on ethnicity in China. My topic will be about the larger picture of minority language education in China. Within this picture, we'll see how we can understand specifically about mother tongue education for Tibetans. So my topic today is changing models of nation-state building, linguistic diversity, and language harmony in contemporary China. Linguistic diversity has been a topic for a long while, and language harmony is a new topic which the Chinese government brought up 2 years ago. In November 2007, the Ministry of Education and the State Commission on Ethnic Affairs had an international symposium in Beijing focusing on language harmony. So I think that's something very interesting, and we want to look into this. Let me give you an overview of my talk. First, I will give an introduction about this topic, and then I'll look at the situation in China from a conceptual framework I proposed a few years ago about multilingualism as an ideology and language order. And then I will look into how China changed its models for nation-state building since the collapse of the Soviet Union. And then lastly, I'll see how within this framework, balance between linguistic diversity and language harmony can be sought. My first question is, has China changed its language policy for minorities since the 90s? Probably most of you already have the answers. There are changes. So the question is, why has it changed the policy? And in what ways the policy has been changed? And of course, more specifically, how has this change been, how has this change affected minority language education, mother tongue education in minority communities, or more specifically in Tibetan communities? And I will look into this from two perspectives. That is, multilingualism as an ideology and an language order, and also how the change of nation-state building model has affected the language policy. First, I would like to talk about multilingualism as an ideology. And this is a conceptual framework for us to look into multilingualism. Almost all the societies in today's world are actually multilingual. Monolingual societies are, I think, to a large extent, a myth. So if you look into the situation here in New York City, or any cities in the US, even small towns, you'll find actually the society to some extent is bilingual or multilingual. In the past, people most look into multilingualism as reality, as linguistic ability, or as language proficiency. So actually, when we talk about multilingualism, it's more than that. So first, there's some ideology when we talk about multilingualism. And second, in any multilingual society, actually, the relationship between languages are ordered. So that's So when I say multilingualism actually is a language ideology. Here, ideology, when I define ideology, I follow the Marxist tradition. So language ideology is a system of beliefs, presuppositions, ideas about what the relationships among languages should be in a society. And of course, language ideology as a superstructure. It has certain relationship with the reality. So it's an echo of the linguistic reality. It also interacts with the linguistic reality. So I think this is very important because we're going to see how the communities, how states employ or deploy these ideologies. So generally speaking, I think there are two conflict types of ideologies about multilingualism or about monolingualism. So the first idea is monolingualism. So this idea is basically based on the assumption that one nation is built on one common language. This idea has been dominated for a long time. China was obsessed with this idea since the beginning of the 20th century, about building one language for one strong nation. So when you have this kind of ideology, you see multilingualism, either the ideology or the reality, as threats, as problems. So language planning for a long time has been try to find solutions to solve these multilingual problems. And of course, the other extreme of the ideology is multilingualism. For this ideology, people who believe or who practice this ideology believes that this one nation with one language is simply a myth. It's created for the need of monolingualism. It's not a reality. And more importantly, this ideology believes that multilingualism as a social reality is about rights for the native speakers, and it's also about resources. So multilingualism actually are resources for the native communities, and more importantly, which many states don't realize, they're also resources for the states. But that's very important.